It's been about 2 weeks since Singaporeans went to the polls on 3rd of May 2025. Much of the election chatter has died down, and most Singaporeans are going back to life as per usual. Of course, there is some GE hangover in the form of curveballs flung in the government. An example is the ongoing allegations by some netizens about ministers having dinner with one of the China billionaires or the Fujian gang who was jailed for money laundering. It is material information that the ministers in question had this meeting before the billionaire's involvement in the crime was known. There is counterattack by the ministers in the form of lawyers' letters sent to the netizen who made the incident public. Frankly, I wish we can move forward. It's unproductive, especially when there are more pressing matters at hand. It also got me thinking about those who have stepped forward to participate in politics, be they individuals from the PAP or the alternative parties. For me, covering GE 2025 up close offered a perspective that I hadn't thought of deeply enough, and that is how vulnerable our politicians are, the sacrifices they must be prepared to make. We must strike a balance between this and our demand for accountability. It is easy to characterize or draw caricatures of our politicians, especially when we only see them on the screens. Leong Man Wai, the one who asks non-stop questions in Parliament. Others are known for their fiery speeches, for having strong or extreme policy positions, and even for the mistakes made on the campaign trail. But behind the soundbites and slogans are individuals, regular people who have made real and often difficult choices. I believe Goh Meng Singh said that he would have had to sell his home to cover the cost of running in this year's GE. Whether or not these are wise decisions, that's for a separate conversation. But the fact is that people are willing to make that kind of sacrifices. It speaks to the conviction that drives many candidates, regardless of the quality of these candidates in the GE. And that, to me, regardless of our political affiliations, is worthy of respect. This election also made one thing abundantly clear. Podcasts and social media platforms more broadly are no longer the fringe. They are now central to political discourse and conversation. And literally anyone can start a podcast today. Politicians across parties can now speak directly to voters, often unfiltered and at a fraction of the traditional media cost. Just as importantly, citizens can now engage with political content more easily than ever before, right from the comfort of their handphones. The information flow, it goes both ways. But more access to more information doesn't always mean better and deeper understanding. Quantity does not always translate to quality. And with greater access to information comes greater responsibility. Therefore, my question is, how do we ensure accuracy, fairness, and respect in this growing space of public conversation? I don't think that regulations such as POFMA are the answer. Culture matters. Values matter. And this is where podcasters and those with a following play a key role. We must take the responsibility and take it seriously. This means doing our homework, asking sharper questions, and pushing back when necessary without losing the spirit of honest and authentic dialogue. Podcasting also opens the doors for younger voices to rise, whether as candidates, as commentators, or simply as curious citizens. The notion that only approved individuals can speak in public spaces, it has shifted. What's rising is a new culture, one that is more participatory, more decentralized, and hopefully more inclusive. That's why in IQ, we introduced a feature recently called People Speak, where members of the public, anyone basically, can send us a 2 to 3 minute commentary on any issue that matters to them. This is democracy. So, where do we go from here? What does all of this call for? First, collaboration. There is strength in diversity and unity, and we are better when we share insights across platforms instead of operating in our individual silos. And I'm so glad to see that already happening with this GE 2025. Second, intergenerational connection. We must all aspire to create conversations that bring different generations, perspectives, ideas together. There is much the young can learn from the old, and vice versa. Now, if we truly want a culture of having more conversations and fewer debates, one where 1,000 flowers can truly bloom, then those with the platforms have to lead by example. Let's work together and set standards and strive to stay active in creating awareness. That is why IQ is hosting a podcast roundtable, which will be posted this Friday, where many of the major podcasters of the land come together to share their experiences and plans for the next 5 years. You must catch it. Yes, it is true. The work begins now.